Hey guys, so with Nuva being added in this patch, we're going to have a look at which is the best offhand in the game. So this is a question that's going to be asked a lot following patch day Wednesday. Now it's not a very simple question to answer, and a couple of things that you need to be aware of before you start looking to compare these offhands is how AP brackets work. Now what I've done is put in the caption section is a link to my video that covers how the various AP brackets work. If you're not familiar with this already, please check that video out. It will help to clarify a couple of the things that I'm going to cover in this video, because I'm not going to be recovering them unfortunately, purely because of time restraints. Anyway, let's have a look at the two most commonly referred to best offhands. So we have the Kutum dagger and we have the Nuva dagger. Now, in its very simplistic breakdown, these two are referred to as a PvE item and a PvP item. The Kutum dagger has the lower AP with some accuracy, evasion, and higher DP, whereas the Nuva has the higher overall AP with a very small amount of DP. Now, what sets these two apart isn't necessarily the balance of the main stats, it's when we go down to the item effects. Now, the differences here are quite huge. So, for example, the Kutum dagger has plus 58 AP against monsters. Now, 58 AP is absolutely huge. You will struggle to get this anywhere else. So having that on a weapon purely for grinding is an enormous increase to your overall damage. Added to that, you also have ignore all resist of 10%, which is fantastic, and it's going to be great even in a PvP scenario. The difference across with the Nuva is that you only have 4 AP against monsters, which is tiny in comparison. It's a whole 54 short of where we are with the Kutum version. The other thing is you don't ignore resistances, instead you gain 10% to all resistance. So again, this is mainly PvP focused, and it's quite easy to see why people feel that the Nuva dagger is the best dagger for PvP, or the best offhand for PvP. And they are right to think so. So, in its very simplistic terms, Kutum dagger is essentially the best for PvE and Nuva is the best for PvP. Now what I'm going to do is go into some of the more intricate details on why these two differ and why they should not be sort of blanket compared to each other. So if you don't already have a Kutum dagger, should you be looking to pick up a Nuva dagger, for example? So if you don't have Kutum offhand, should you pick up Nuva offhand? Unfortunately, it's not that simple of a question. Now, what I would say is that everybody should strive to get a Kutum offhand. Kutum is hands down going to be the best PvE grinding offhand for a very long time on console. This is going to open up avenues to grinding Hystria and being able to clear places a lot quicker, which in turn brings in more income, and once we get the 5 pets, those two things coupled together is going to be huge. Now, I don't feel that you will be missing much in terms of PvP offensive ability if you have the Kutum over the Nuva. But what we're going to do now is throw a spanner in the works. So here we're going to add a third offhand to the mix. Now we're just going to look at the ultimate version of the green AP offhand. So in the Wizard's case, this is the ultimate steel dagger. In Moose's case, it's the white hornbow. For Sorks, it's the Dewbray talisman. And basically it's level 2 tep, the same as the Nuva and the Kutum, and with an ultimate reform stone, it's upgraded to the ultimate version of this weapon. Now what you'll see straight off the bat is still the ultimate steel dagger doesn't compare to Kutum in terms of PvE. In fact, nothing ever will until you get to the extreme higher brackets in AP. Again, that goes back to the brackets that you need to understand to work out when Nuva becomes better than Kutum and when it becomes better than other offhands. But anyway, let's have a look at just the ultimate steel compared to the Nuva. Now obviously the Nuva has the higher AP. It was always going to have the higher AP because it's a boss item. Now the downside for it being a boss item is it's harder to enhance, it requires memory fragments to repair, and you've got to get the drop. So it's not as readily available as the steel version or the ultimate versions of the green offhands. These are readily available from vendors through Amnesty, through the marketplace, and just through grinding in general. So getting this to tech is considerably easier and more cost efficient. So unfortunately the ultimate steel misses out on some AP and it misses out on a gem slot. It does however have the same AP against monsters, which is a +4, and it does miss out on all resistances, but that's not a game changer necessarily. What I want to draw your attention to though is this bottom additional effect. All special attack, extra damage, 10%. This is what makes the Ultimate Steel Dagger better than Nuva, unless Nuva is going to push you over an AP breakpoint. The ultimate versions of the offhands will be better than Nuva at the moment. Now the reason for this is that special attack is huge. You're talking back attacks, down smashes, air attacks. Anything that's considered special attack. Having 10% on that will make up for the shortfall in AP currently. Now this is both in PvP and in PvE. So if you don't have a Kutum at the moment, your best bet is going to be a green ultimate version or a green offhand AP version upgraded to ultimate, and that will be better than Nuva currently. Like I said though, you do need to understand these AP brackets, and you need to think about that when you're balancing your items. Because of the flat increase in the AP, once you get to certain breakpoints of around 240 AP, this is when Nuva starts to really shine. This is when it's going to pick you up and push you over those breakpoints, and it's from around 240 to 260 that the AP breakpoints are absolutely massive. There are huge gains to be had in terms of AP, and it's at that point you want to look for Nuva. But ultimately the purpose of this video was to say which offhand is the best. Now Kutum is hands down the best for PvE grinding. If you can get your hands on one and you can enhance it, by all means do it. It will unlock the ability to grind faster, to make more money, and to grind better areas like Histria and Akman with relative ease. Especially with Camasylvia coming into the game, you're going to want this weapon to be able to effectively grind and contest some of the more contested spots. When it comes to which PvP offhand you should be using though, if you're looking for my honest opinion, I would say that you're better off with an ultimate version of one of the green AP offhands until the Nuva will give you a significant return by pushing you over an AP breakpoint. At that point in time, providing you have all the accuracy you need on your class, you can make the switch to Nuva. You will want a Nuva eventually. However, I would definitely downplay picking up this offhand until you've got all tri-accessories, preferably crescent rings, and witches minimum earrings with Bazzi belts and your Seraphs or a duo ogre ring. I would make sure that you have all pieces of boss gear that you need, especially Muskin's boots and your Beg's gloves that are currently in the game. Ideally Dimtree and Gaia for the set bonus, although I know that some people will be holding off in favour of Griffin and waiting to get Ergon's boots as well. Overall though, I would prioritise all of that and saving up ready for when Dandy comes before I would ever pick up a Nuva. Kutum is a whole different ball game. From a PvE side of things, I would always look to pick that up. Nuva though, there is a much cheaper, borderline comparable alternative for the time being. So hopefully this has helped shed some light on what is going to be one of the most asked questions following patch day. As always, if you have any further questions or want me to cover anything in any future videos, feel free to drop that in the comments section. If you are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. I am continuing to push out more and more console content, and I've got some big news and some updates coming soon.